As you all know, this conference brings together academia, researchers, students, and practitioners. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. I would like to thank you for joining us today for this special presentation of Episteme 2022 based on the theme Social Work Practice, Strengthening Social Solidarity and Global Connectedness, which is a discussion that is becoming more and more critical every day. This webinar would reflect on such an important human endeavor. As you know, we have within us the finest of professors of social work. Now I invite Dr. Anita A., Teacher in Charge, Department of Social Work, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Regional Campus, Payyanur, to welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Rose. A very good morning to all the honored guests and eminent scholars who are gathered here. It's my privilege and great pleasure on behalf of the Episteme team and Department of Social Work to welcome each and every one of you. We are very much delighted to have all of you participate today in this gathering, which we intend to share the knowledge in the 2 days international conference. Thank you for joining us from all across the globe. This online platform in one way is an advantage where it has abridged all the barriers of the distance that we have if not otherwise. So from its Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit was established in 1993 with its headquarters in Kerala at Kaladi. It has its regional centers, 8 regional centers across Kerala from north to south. And our university has been accredited A+ last year, re-accredited A+ last year. So it's a special status university with its like 8 regional campuses, and it seeks to prepare and promote social and cultural heritage through interdisciplinary departments and collaborative works. So we, the Department of Social Work, started in 1995, and we have been celebrating the 25 years of its existence. And we are very proud to say that we have molded a professional social work team that has spread across all over the globe. It's with immense pleasure that I would like to welcome Rose Henderson. It's actually, we were very apprehensive when we had initially sent a mail to ma'am, who's the Global Vice President and President of Asia Pacific region. But the ma'am has very positively responded to us, and we had a lot of conversations through the mail in between, and that has been a truly encouraging throughout the journey too, when we were planning for this conference. Dr. Jose Anthony is another person who's the strong pillar, who's always there with us. He's the head of the department, and he has been leading the department for this last 20 years on so. And we are very proud to say that he is a good orator, trainer, academician, researchers, and whatnot. You have immense titles to add on to him. Thank you so much for joining us. A hearty welcome to you. We have Dr. Ike George, who is the president, who's the secretary of the Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers. He has been working profoundly to take the professional organizations, bringing together the academicians and practitioners all over Kerala, India, and even taking it abroad and making the professional organization to great heights. So a very hearty welcome to Dr. Ike George. We have with us our own campus director, Dr. Ek Raijan, who's always been there to guide and support us all through the endeavors that the department has ever initiated. Thank you, Dr. Raijan, for joining us on this platform. We also had today Dr. Sheelama, who will be joining us. She's an enthusiastic faculty as well as NSS program officer. She's right now in a program, but she will be joining us for the facilitation. And I would like to thank my whole department, since I'm representing my whole team of Episteme. With me is Dr. Sunil Kumar, Dr. Saleh, Nandu, Grishma, and Akhila, who have been working as a team, inspiring the whole batch of students. And they are all here, and Thank to all the participants who are joined from all across India. We heartily welcome you to this today platform. I would also like to mention Dr. Vivek, who has been supporting us through all this in form, like inviting the guests and the special guest from with his expertise of working all over the world. Thank you, Dr. Vivek. And with this note, I would like to once again welcome all the persons, eminent persons here, and over to Akhila for the theme presentation. Oh, before that, I'm so sorry. I'd like to hand over this session to Dr. Jose Anthony, who will be delivering the presidential address. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Okay, I think Rosemary has something to say.
No, sir, I just wanted to invite you. It is my pleasant duty to welcome Professor Jose Anthony, Head of the Department of Social Work, Kaladi. So, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anita, as well as Rose, for this welcoming to this program. I think I'm very well a part of this program. And I'm so happy to be with the team. And really privileged to see Rose Henderson, Ike sir, Rajan sir, Shilama, as well as the entire team of Payyanur Regional Campus getting together for this beautiful inaugural ceremony. And a big salute and applause to the whole organizing team, including our beloved students who have really made it to be very effective in organizing this program, irrespective of the different difficulties they had. Many times they were on and off with the campus due to COVID. Sometimes they were online, sometimes they were offline, sometimes they were taken back home. Again, they are back to the department. And we were having these type of subtle experiences. And I am so happy that our students have really made it worked out. And now the third edition of the International Conference Episteme is on track. And I'm so happy about also this particular word, episteme. Basically, it means the knowledge, the wisdom. And we all are loving and seeking for wisdom, which is to be shared, which will make us connected. Basically, knowledge is that which make the global situation connected with. If there is no knowledge about the other, there is no knowledge about the other systems existing around us, there is no possibility of being connected. So we are aware, we know each other, and we are getting to know each other, and that knowledge makes us together. Basically, I'm a true lover of philosophy, and I read and write something on philosophy because my basic education also is with philosophy. So I always think that people are trying to define life in different ways. And the way I really like to define entire system of life and universe is a process of being connected. So this connectivity is the life, I would say. Connectivity is the development. Connectivity is basically the empowerment. Connectivity is basically the social work process. I always very strongly believe that no individual can do social work by himself or herself. Social work is absolutely impossible alone. It's possible only once you get connected with your client group. You get connected with the surroundings. You get connected with the social system. You get connected with the global system. You get connected with the entire social order. So fundamentally, being connected, whether it is a local connection or a provisional connectedness or a global connectedness, basically this connectedness is basically our existence, and our existence is coexistence. So based on our past experiences and our present existence, we are making our pathways to the future. So we are connecting the past with the future, or the future with the past in the present. And social work is happening in the present. And this communion of being connected, communion of relationship, is the basic cause of our life. When a spermatozoa gets commune with as an ovum, a new life begins. And a human body develops because of this commune between different cells, different organs, and different human beings, different organizations and organized systems in this universe. So I always like to be very, very, very happy. And I feel nostalgic to think and deliberate on this experience of being connected. And social work, of course, is working on a single instrument. Social worker has got only a single instrument in his or her hand, and that is relationship. A worker is making purposeful relationship with a client, whether it is an individual or group or community, or different age group, aged people, or different type of problems. We are making relationship with them because every problem is a problem that emerges from a relationship. And if you find a solution for a problem, that is again another relationship. And a relationship is a manifestation of being connected. Even if you are fighting with somebody, you are getting connected. Russia is in war with Ukraine. And that is basically on the relationship between Russia and Ukraine. And they are trying to patch up the relationship, and the methodology may not be correct, but they are trying to make a connectedness. And I'm so happy that this international webinar, Episteme, which is always an effort to look in and experience new knowledge, new development systems, new world of experiences, is trying to make the global connectedness and social solidarity as its core theme. How we express our social global solidarity or social solidarity? Being a simple human being, a social being, a social worker, we all are in the process of making meaningful relationships with the people around, the globe around, the environment around, and the social orders around us. This year's global theme for a social work day is a process of co-building. We are building. What we are building? We are building the relationships. We are building relationship. The South is making relationship with the North. The male is making relationship with the female. The rich has to make relationship with the poor, and the poor has to make relationship with the rich. The developed nations are making relationship with the developing and underdeveloped nations. And in everywhere you find the efforts of making global local relationships. And once you want to make a global relationship, you have to work in the local scenario. So think globally and work locally may be the best expression of being connected with the entire world. If you get disconnected with oxygen, you are no more. If you get disconnected with this earth, you are no more. If a leaf is cut away from the plant, if a branch is cut away from the plant, if a fruit is cut away from the plant, it has no existence. So existence simply means being with. What social workers do? We are being with the client. We are trying to be with the client. There is only a very simple difference between sympathy and empathy. And that is very simple. Sympathy is feeling for, and empathy is feeling with. To be with is to be connected, to be in relationship, to be along. So let us make our knowledge system really work on and bring out new knowledge, new understandings, new colors to our understanding, new philosophical explanations to our existence and coexistence, and co-building and relationship and connectedness through this solidarity with the social order. So let us make a solidarity with the people in the peripheries, maybe minority people, or maybe people with the different identities, maybe people with the different genders, maybe doing a very unwanted job in courts in the universal system, people who are traveling in the darkness, again in court, people who are always on the power, always away from the power, haves and have-nots. So let us make beautiful social solidarities with them and get connected. So people living in the peripheries have to be brought into the mainstream, and they should be felt connected with the mainstream. People living in the rural villages have to be connected to the mainstream so that they get the beautiful results of development. People living in the outskirts of the social order has to be empowered so that they should feel and they experience this connectedness. So let us share and enjoy this globe with its difficulties and with its possibilities. Let us keep this globe available with its full richness for the generations to come. That's what I believe. It's not for a generation with us. So let us try to connect our past. We had millions and millions in the past who lived and toiled to make this present. And let us also think about the future. Millions and millions are yet to come and enjoy this beautiful globe. It's not our prerogative to live and enjoy everything available here. Rather, we are here to make it, to make this globe really available, made beautifully available to the next generation. We can live, but we cannot spoil. We can enjoy, but we cannot destroy. So let us make this feel of being connected with our fellows, human beings, living organisms, non-living organisms, and the entire global existence. We are a part of the cosmos, and we are not the monopoly owners of the cosmos. So let us be a part of this cosmos and make this cosmos beautifully maintained and handed over to the future generations. So we are getting connected to the future generations. So being in the present, we are obliged to the past, and we are really committed to the future and the generations to come. So we are connecting the past and future through the present to make social work a wonderful profession to live on and to work on. So a big congratulations to our team, Payyanur, who has really made this wonderful platform to come and deliberate and get new knowledge and really love knowledge, so that this knowledge makes us empowered and really capable of working and living in a new world, a new eco-social world. Let us create that. A world where we are loving our ecosystem, a world we are loving our social order, a world where we are really in solidarity with our new social order. So let us make a wonderful social order and a wonderful social experience to us as well as to every existing and non-existing beings in the universe. So I believe social work is a process of being in this communion with everything. And let us love this communion. Let us enjoy this communion, whether white or black, from the rich or poor, from the male or female or different identities. We are enjoying and sharing and owning the same club, which is for the future generations. With this, I think I welcome every distinguished participants and the people on the dais and off the dais to have wonderful exchanges of our thoughts and ideas and experiences to develop new knowledge, which will equip better the social order, which will equip a better social experiences. So with this opening note, I think I wish a very, very successful, effective deliberations and understandings and experience with this 2 wonderful days of episteme knowledge. Thank you, Anita, and your team, wonderful students team who have made it wonderfully to open up with. Rose Henderson, ma'am, we welcome you especially to our university, and it's a privilege for us to be with us, and we really enjoy, and we are really waiting to listen to you in that way. Let us keep this solidarity working with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your ideas and perception. Okay. Thank you, sir, for sharing your ideas and perception. Now I invite Ms. Akhila KP, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit Regional Campus, Payyanur, for the theme presentation.
Thank you, Rose. Respected delegates, students, researchers, and colleagues, a warm good morning to all. At this time, when physical distance and lockdowns of various natures become normal in daily life for people across the globe, talking about social solidarity and global connectedness is of foremost importance. The current global crisis is a challenge as well as an opportunity for social work as a profession and academic discipline. A challenge in the form of a public health emergency has its wider implications in various spheres of life in which social workers have competency. An opportunity to look back the history of antiquity to the present to redefine some concepts and basic understanding in social work to make them suits to the diverse nature of the contemporary social life. Like redefining social distance to physical distance, strengthening social solidarity and global connectedness during difficult times requires various interventions in various aspects of social life. Hence, to ensure discussions in these directions, the Third International Conference on Social Work Practice, Strengthening Social Solidarity and Global Connectedness, organized by Department of Social Work, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit College, Regional Campus, Payyanur, under 4 sub-themes. Diverse topics covering individual and group intervention to social actions and social work research are incorporated in this conference for detailed academic discussion. The theme comes from 2020-2030 Global Agenda for Social Work and Social Development. And it is a message that all people are interconnected and that our future is dependent on recognizing all people involvement in co-building a sustainable, fair, and socially just future. And the 4 sub-themes of this conference are social work practice with individual, groups, and community, evidence-based social work models and perspectives, promoting gender equality and social justice, social work response, and social work in a new normal society that COVID pandemic implications. So it is expected that this international conference could contribute to examine the emerging challenges in social work practice and point out directions of way forward. And the diverse subjects focusing on each sub-theme will ensure a space for various stakeholders, including students, researchers, academicians, and practitioners in the field of social work. And I am sure that all the delegates, experts, and research scholars will all tremendously benefit from the deliberations of this 2 days international conference in a warm and friendly environment. And we are very lucky to have the IFSW Asia Pacific Regional President Rose Henderson Madam here, and the Federation and its national members strive for social justice, human rights, and inclusive sustainable social development through the promotion of social work, best practice, and engagement in international corporations. So, motivated by IFSW, the Department of Social Work, Sree Sankaracharya University of Regional Campus Payyanur invites all of you to participate the 2 days international conference on social work practice, strengthening social solidarity and global connectedness. So together we can change the world for this and the future generation. Thank you. Over to you, Rose.
Thank you, ma'am. My wish isn't to mean everything to everyone, but something to someone. I entreat Dr. Ek Raijan to express your views at this auspicious occasion.
Hello, thank you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. A very good morning to everybody who joined this webinar. Actually, I am very happy to be here with you to speak some words. So, firstly, I appreciate the social work department in our regional campus for organizing a conference like this on the topic of social work practice, strengthening social solidarity, and global connectedness. So, I think this topic is of very pertinent to the present social crisis that created by the COVID-19. Now we are also thinking that the strengthening of this social solidarity and global connectedness by keeping a social distancing. Of course, this seminar is very important in this such a particular situation to discuss many things that we are facing in society. Of course, this webinar also provides different spaces for good deal of discussion of the present social problems and issues. And I would say this conference will also provide a very conducive to the academic development and social practices, and also very helpful to the social researchers. In this way, I once again appreciate the organizers of this seminar. Of course, this is the time of global social work. And finally, I think the present social work, present pandemic situation has opened a new phase for discussing all topics in international or global spaces. Once again, I appreciate the department for inviting the erudite scholars like Rose Henderson and others for this, attaching to your campus. And also I thanks everyone. Then what to say, let me stop. Over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words. Here I invite Dr. Ike George, General Secretary, Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers, to deliver the felicitation address.
Hello, thank you, Rose. Can you hear?
Yes, sir. We can hear.
There are two Roses here. One is international Rose and one is our regional Rose. So don't get confused, Rose Henderson. Whenever they say Rose, they may be addressing our local Rose. Okay, sometimes. Respected Rose Henderson, nice meeting you here in this platform. And Professor Dr. Jose Anthony, Dr. Anita, Dr. Sunil Kumar, Mr. Muhammad Swalik is the President of Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers, Malappuram District Chapter, and my dear colleagues, dear students, and all the participants across the globe. First of all, I congratulate Sree Sankaracharya University, Payyanur Regional Campus, for organizing this seminar, especially on this social work theme. Now, we observed yesterday as the World Social Work Day, and the whole month is being observed as a social work month. And in Kerala also, we have been organizing a lot of programs since March 1st, and it will continue till the end of March. Yesterday also, we had an international program where many of our social workers from Kerala were panelists. And this is our theme, especially social work practice, strengthening social solidarity and global connectedness. Why we need to be connected? That's the very basic question that is to be answered. In his presidential address, Dr. Jose Anthony has covered very good, concepts and points on this particular theme. We need to be connected to ensure social justice to all the people in all walks of life. That is one thing. We need to be connected to ensure equality to all. And this is required for everyone's a graceful life for everyone. That is a very much requirement in the modern society, especially in the new normal. And this equality and this graceful living is irrespective of the place of living. It should be irrespective of the age, irrespective of gender, nature of job. And of course, in the Indian situation, we can say it should be irrespective of any caste or religion. And this way, the global theme is very relevant in the Indian context. But we need to start with the social workers. And when we are taking up this particular theme, it is very important that we wholeheartedly accept this theme and practice this theme in our life. We need to involve or evolve strategies and reflect it in our life and the practice. Now, there are a lot to be done, especially in the new normal, where lakhs of people have suffered from COVID, and thousands of people lost their livelihood, and of course, many people lost their job. The children lost their opportunity for education, and still, even though we claim that the situation is normal, we are afraid of another attack, and at the same time the things are not normal in the society. The people who started suffering in the COVID situation, they continue to be suffered. And it's our own duty, the social workers' duty, to jump into the situation and do whatever possible we can. Now, for Rose Henderson, let me share something about our organization, the Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers, that is established in the year 2012. Now, this is the 10th year of establishment. We have chapters in all the districts of Kerala, and we are also the founding member of India Network of Professional Social Workers Association, and a very active member as well. Therefore, yesterday also we had the executive committee meeting of IFSW with Sree Ganesh and Gandhi Dos and all. But a sad situation in India, you are very well aware, is that we don't have a regulatory body in the form of a council. So what happens when a social worker, after the training, after they successfully complete the training, they practice at their own. There is no regulatory mechanism. But always people can be regulated. Self-regulation is primarily possible, and at the same time we have very strong associations in our country at a regional level, at a state level and all. So we need to ensure that our students and all the practitioners need to come together strongly on a single platform and connect ourselves. Presently what happens, this connectivity is not that much visible among the practitioners, because there may be at least 75,000 professional social workers in our country. Sorry, in Kerala. In country, the number may be more than 6 lakhs. But even those 75,000 people, if they come together and start working together, we can think and evolve many strategies for addressing the social problems, and of course we will be a powerful force that we need to establish that situation. And we must start from the students, that they understand, they come to know about the associations, their work, get involved in all the activities, and of course start working even after they pass out. We consider this as a privilege. Ms. Rose, your presence is a privilege for the whole social work fraternity in Kerala, and we are happy to see, I think many people are not aware of your presence in Kerala, since this is an international conference and of course academic in nature. Mostly the academicians will be interested to join, but of course we will be very soon, we will be contacting you, and of course please don't say no to our upcoming program, where you will be you would like to have you as our chief guest. Nice meeting you here in the platform, and once again I congratulate SSU's Payyanur campus and the leadership of Anita and Dr. Jose Anthony for organizing this wonderful program and trying to convey the message of social work, the global agenda, to all the corners of social work practice. Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. And I'll also definitely try to become an international Rose very soon. Anyways, thank you for sharing your warm words with us. Now I request Dr. Srilamma R., teacher in charge, Sri Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Regional Campus, Thuravur, to felicitate the gathering.
Rose, it seems that the teacher was here earlier. She might have a connection issue. We will go to ma'am directly.
Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the core agenda of our session, that is to hear speech from our keynote speaker, Rose Henderson. Before beginning the session, allow me to introduce the speaker. Rose Henderson is the current IFSW Asia Pacific Regional President and IFSW Global Vice President. She is a New Zealand registered social worker and is a life member and past president of the Aotearoa New Zealand Association of Social Workers. Her social work career has spanned child protection and family safety NGOs, but has mainly been in mental health. Rose has held a number of clinical and leadership positions within the mental health services and is currently one of the directors of Allied Health at the Canterbury District Health Board in Christchurch, New Zealand. Since the 2010 earthquake in her hometown, Rose has led various disaster response and recovery efforts across Canterbury and is currently providing allied health leadership into the COVID-19 pandemic response. Ma'am, the platform is all yours.
Thank you. Dr. Anita, Dr. Anthony, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you, good evening from here. It is my pleasure to begin this by declaring your two-day conference, Episteme 2022, inaugurated. Congratulations. Thank you for your kind invitation and your warm welcome here today to your third international conference, and hear some of these presentations and share with you some of my thoughts at this wonderful event. On behalf of IFSW Asia Pacific, may I begin by wishing you all a very happy Social Work Day or World Social Work Month, and congratulate you for taking the time to celebrate with organising this event. I note the overall topic and also the 4 sub-themes that you have identified for this conference, and commend you for their selection as key areas facing the profession of social work today. Let me start by sharing a little more about me. I come from holding a social work practitioner perspective throughout my career. Although I am now a little more removed from the front line, as I am in mainly leadership roles. As you said, I'm currently the president of IFSW Asia Pacific region and the global IFSW vice president. In this role, it has been my very great privilege and honour to serve the region and to connect with social workers, social work educators, and social service providers across the globe, and learn much from the wonderful diversity and innovations that makes up our great social work profession regionally and internationally. I am a member also of our registration board here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and from that I am very much connected to the many everyday challenges and opportunities that social work face in our communities. As you mentioned, in my paid work, I am the Director of Allied Health, having spent much of my time in mental health and leading recovery responses. Over the years, it has been my privilege to work closely with many wonderful social work educators. And of course, this is a key partnership within the profession. Social work educators are an essential ingredient in growing our social work practitioner workforce, and social work practitioners are an essential ingredient in informing social work educators of what graduates need to know to practice social work in the workplace. Hence, a close, respectful partnership is critical to maintain both the success and the succession of the profession. We are not in competition, we are complementary. We need each other. In our wonderful profession, practitioners and educators are different branches of the same tree. And there are many important elements and resources that we have in common. We share a common definition of social work. We share the social work ethical principles. We share the global standards for education and of course we share the global agenda. If in your region or country you are regulated, both practitioners and educators will share the same regulatory framework and professional accountabilities. So as a profession, there are many things that bind us together, and in doing so, strengthen our own social work brand of professional solidarity. Social solidarity can have a number of different meanings, but in general, it is used to describe the significance of the interdependence between individuals in a community, such that it enables individuals to feel that they can enhance the lives of others. It is a core principle of collective action and is founded on shared values and beliefs among different groups in society. It is therefore no accident that the Global Agenda Task Force has had many discussions about the importance of this concept into our work and to develop the ongoing global agenda themes. Of course, one of the challenges when working internationally is ensuring that everyone understands the intent of the language and that the language can be translated accurately and without the loss of the original intent. Even the word solidarity has been much debated. When I speak of solidarity, it is not about making everyone think and act the same. An important distinction is to acknowledge the power of working together when faced with a common goal or challenge, whilst at the same time recognizing the importance and richness of difference and diversity in finding solutions to these challenges. You will note that to date, with the Global Agenda theme, we have not used that actual word, solidarity, and that is because of the risk of misunderstanding through some interpretations. Rather, we have used language that can be more universally understood and translated. All that said, I am confident that everyone here today does understand the same intent in the language, and my point is solely to share with you some of the interesting debates and learnings that come from working at a global level. I have mentioned the global agenda, and before I move on, I will share just a little more on that, as this is one of the important elements that brings us all together as a profession, but can also provide a platform for much wider social action across the layers of our community. The first 4 global agenda themes were developed and announced at the Global Conference in 2010, with the first theme being promoted for 2012. The ongoing process began many years before that, when it was launched in 2010. Lots of consultation with every organisation in each global body, as well as much negotiation between the partners. The shared vision to establish a global agenda included the desire to create a collective voice across social workers, social work educators, and social development in order to increase our visibility and influence, reclaim social action, and enhance political and advocacy strategies. Over the years, the global agenda has now become an established, unifying theme every 2 years, providing a global, multi-agency focus for the whole profession. They are intentionally high-level and aspirational in order for all countries, regardless of their political, social, or cultural orientations, to be able to relate to and identify with across the globe. And consequently, at the end of each 2-year period, we have a rich and diverse array of activities and developments that the Global Agenda theme has inspired. One of the most high-profile ways that these are promoted are through our annual World Social Work Day promotions, including the posters, which are now translated into many languages and appear in many workplaces, especially during the month of March. This is providing another layer of social cohesion and solidarity across the profession and beyond. We've now established a Global Agenda Task Force, which is made up of representatives from the International Federation of Social Workers and our partner global bodies, the International Association of Schools of Social Work and the International Council of Social Welfare. Our role is to work together to establish the further future themes for the global agenda and recommend these to our respective presidents and global bodies for ratification before release. The framework for the decade 2020 to 2030 was established as Co-Building Inclusive Social Transformation. The Global Agenda 2020 to 2030 is anchored in the following commitments. The narrative with this has acknowledged that as global bodies with active membership in all countries, we recognise and commit to celebrating the strengths of all people and promoting their active role in leading sustainable development. We commit to working together to co-design and co-build thriving communities and societies for people and the environment. Fostering the active participation of all voices, particularly those often marginalised, is core for the profession of social work and social development and is essential to co-design and co-build inclusive social transformation. This would include the development of new social agreements between governments and the populations they serve and facilitate equal rights, opportunities, and freedom for all people nationally and globally. The role of social work and social development in advancing and creating new platforms and spaces for all peoples is of paramount importance for these new social agreements to emerge. Our first theme this decade in 2020 and 2021 was Ubuntu, I am because we are. Ubuntu has been popularized across the world by Nelson Mandela and is generally interpreted as meaning I am because we are. This is a word, a concept, and a philosophy that resonates with the social work and social development perspectives of the interconnectedness of all peoples and their environments. Ubuntu also highlights indigenous knowledge and wisdom, and we encourage all nations and populations to consider how they might recognize the indigenous knowledge and wisdom within their own culture and heritage. As has already been mentioned, the current theme, Co-Building a New Ecosocial World, Leaving No One Behind, builds on our last theme, highlighting the interdependency of all people. As the world continues to grapple with growing inequality, marginalization, racism, fear, natural and of course man-made disasters, as well as a global pandemic, Co-Building a New Ecosocial World, Leaving No One Behind invites us all to actively participate in global discussions that will develop shared values, policies, and actions to advance a socially just and sustainable future for all people. Co-building values everyone's diverse strengths, recognizes interdependency of humanity and the need to respectfully work together in designing and planning the kind of world we want to live in and the kind of future we want for the next generations, whilst co-building includes multi-agency and micro, meso, and macro layers of our communities. For social workers as a profession, a key part of co-building must include those with lived experience, that is, the people we work with. We must live and breathe the mantra of many service user organisation that says, nothing about me without me. Thank you for the slides. Co-building a new ecosocial world, leaving no one behind, will also be the theme of the People's Summit that will take place from the 29th of June to the 2nd of July. And I look forward to hearing more of the activities and actions that come about as a result of promoting this around the globe. The next slide, please. I will now touch on one of your sub-themes, social work in a new normal society, COVID pandemic implications, and start by acknowledging the huge impact this health crisis has had in every corner of the world. We have lost millions of people. Health systems in most countries have been unable to cope with the enormous demands made of healthcare workers. Every day, ethical dilemmas have confronted health staff as they toil in impossible situations. The health systems will take a long time to recover, but health is but one part of this pandemic. I acknowledge the enormous stress that all of this causes with each wave of the pandemic and leaves all of that for us to deal with as part of the ongoing work to support our communities as they begin to recover and move on. Like every disaster we have all experienced, the tale of recovery will be long-reaching and the consequences will manifest in some predictable but in also some unknown ways. National economies have been significantly impacted, and for many, the cost of living has skyrocketed. The supply chain for food and other essential items have become disrupted. People's livelihoods have been lost. We have what we refer sometimes to as the known vulnerable in our communities who face further marginalisation, and there are also the new vulnerable who, as a result of this pandemic, are now facing new circumstances, be that the loss of loved ones, the loss of employment or housing or both, and many uncertainties about what the future holds. There may be an increase in substance abuse, there may be an increase in violence, there may be a loss of hope for some. All of these situations are where we as social workers work every day. Next slide, please. One of the most important things I want to encourage in all of you is you are not alone. Do not face the next phase of this disaster on your own. Please strengthen your professional networks with deliberate and planned opportunities for both formal and informal connection over the coming months and years. What we do know is that strengthening our social support and social protection systems is an essential component of this recovery. We need to work across disciplines and across agencies. So I repeat, do not bear the burden of this work alone. Ensure you have good personal and professional networks, supervision and support. Collaborate together to advocate politically for those we work with, encouraging the decision makers to build back better, with our global agenda theme in mind, leaving no one behind. As you have noted, a language is so important, and many governments have picked up the concept of social distancing. I totally endorse what was said earlier this morning for you, this evening for me. We have to change this to what we actually mean, which is to keep our physical distance, but maintain our strong social connections. And maintain your active connections with the global body of social work, your own associations, your regional, your national, and globally. This connectedness provides a much needed boost professionally and reduces that sense of isolation that can so easily overwhelm us. However, it is not all negative. We have become amazingly familiar and reasonably confident with many new ways of working. Who would have thought social workers would be so familiar with personal protective equipment and infection prevention and control, or would speak reasonably confidently about new variants or genomic links or the next wave of the pandemic? We have learned a whole new vocabulary and built our confidence and competence in new ways of working. There is enormous potential to further evolve digital technologies, not to replace face-to-face social work, but rather to enhance and affirm the benefits of new hybrid models. Many service users have reported positive impacts of sometimes being able to use virtual means to get help rather than always needing to negotiate the often challenging logistics of attending a face-to-face appointment amidst the busyness of their lives. Likewise, a combination of virtual and face-to-face sessions is likely to become the norm in our education settings and for conferences like this and other continuing professional development activities. I urge us all to optimize the benefits of both rather than going back to only one way of working, teaching, and living. Maintain the interdisciplinary and interagency collaborations that will have evolved to respond to the many pressures of the pandemic. Share ongoing professional development opportunities and ensure key partnerships and relationships are nurtured. Resist the temptation to go back to previous business as usual, but rather embrace the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to co-design and co-build a new normal. Remembering, of course, that co-design must include our people with lived experience as a critical part of that. Although, like you all, I am sure, I am very distressed by examples around the world of man's inhumanity to man. But I am heartened by the efforts to seek peaceful solutions to conflict and to see the masses of humanitarian aid that comes to places where these atrocities against citizens occur. This is the social solidarity and connectedness that will make a huge difference to those being impacted by these events outside their control. Finally, let me conclude by acknowledging the world-leading research and education that comes out of your wonderful country, India, with its social work practice and psychosocial responses in crisis management. As a social worker, it was many of the resources from your country that I turned to and which helped me enormously as I built a team and developed a response to our large earthquakes over a decade ago. I was able to build and develop our own responses through the many other disasters since that time, but I do acknowledge hugely the contribution that you make to global resources. I am delighted to say now that in my country, social workers are regarded as a key profession and essential workers in crisis response. We have social workers in our emergency departments, in the hospitals, in our mental health crisis teams, and of course now in my COVID response team. This is not always the case, and I still often have to be advocating for it. There is much more work to be done, but I am proud to stand alongside you as this part of the global network. The next slide. Co-building a new eco-social world, leaving no one behind. Again, my thanks for being invited to participate in this event. Do value the professional development opportunities that attendance at this will provide. And also, please take time to celebrate with each other the great and unique contribution you as social workers, social work educators, students, and social service providers make in the lives of those that we work with. Happy World Social Work Day 2022, and I hope you can join the People Summit later this year. I wish you all the very best for a successful and wonderful two-day conference ahead. Thank you.
Rose, you are unmute.
Thank you, ma'am. Your presence and wise words helped magnify our cause in the best possible way. As you may know, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit Regional Campus Payyanur has within it the finest of students of social work. Now I invite Ms. Krishna Sriram, second year social work student of Sree Sankaracharya University, to express our gratitude.
The Reverend dignitaries and my dear participants, good morning. I'm very much delighted to extend you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kaladi, Regional Campus, Payyanur, and Episteme 2022, the International Conference, and to say how grateful we are to all who have accepted our invitation to convene this international conference on the theme Social Work Practice, Strengthening Social Solidarity and Global Connectedness.
Sorry, ma'am. Now it's time for the discussion. So anybody can ask or clarify your queries and about this topic. Oh, the platform is open for discussion.
Dear participants, as we all know, we have a very eminent guest among us from the IFSW, the Global Vice President and President of Region. So we had a very enlightening speech from Rose Henderson. So we would like all our participants to make use of this opportunity to talk to the Rose and know the international situations and what's happening with IFSW and what we look forward from IFSW. Right? So there's a great platform. I hope all of you will indeed make use of this opportunity.
Shall I ask you one question, Rose? Yeah, okay. First of all, let me acknowledge Dr. Anita is one of our leaders in our association, looking after the human rights and anti-human trafficking wing of our association. And also, I acknowledge, we have spent time together in a Bangalore conference, in a Tehran conference and all. My question is, I'm sure about this. This may not be the right platform to ask this question, but since you are here and it is very difficult to get you, because 2 months before I tried my level best to connect you, even though we talk about global connectedness, it was very difficult because we had a students' congress and I wanted you to inaugurate, but I could not connect with you. So anyway, that problem is to be sorted out. That is the first thing. Secondly, that's what I said, this may not be the right platform, but still, see, in the IFSW Asia Pacific region, there are different countries belonging to different social status, economically and socially. So though this IFSW Asia Pacific has a certain specific agenda, so that this particular theme of global connectedness, leaving no one behind, take up to the society, maybe at micro or macro level, whatever the case may be. Have you have any, any interest in identifying the problems related to each countries and giving some kind of instructions to the national organizations so that the organization, social work organization, take up this particular theme into their practice, and so that it goes out of our discussion platforms in the academic area, because we will have a lot of discussion platforms, and we have any initiatives so that the discussions are remained in the four walls of the rooms and it goes out. It will be highly appreciated if IFSW Asia Pacific can give certain specific directions to the member associations to take up some minute task that is connected to this particular topic.
Thank you for your question. And I guess today and yesterday is when this particular theme was launched. So it is brand new for us nationally, regionally, and globally. The People's Summit in June is going to be an opportunity for some of those discussions to occur with some, possible action plans coming out of that. In the past, we have not made any direction to any of our member countries, but rather we've encouraged everyone to use the theme in the best way possible to achieve the desired outcome within their own context. As you quite rightly say, we span as a region the Middle East through across, of course, to India and Central Asia, to Japan, and down through the Pacific. We have an enormous diversity of contexts within which we connect. So we haven't yet issued any specific instructions around how any country could or should interpret it, but rather we've encouraged them to develop their priorities and their responses and to share those, because what you do in your part of the the world may be great to share with another part. So that's been more the way that we've worked thus far. But we are still very open to other suggestions. So, you know, the People's Summit will be an opportunity for some more discussion around that.
So you're mute, Ibs.
Okay. Thank you, Rose.
And I'm sorry that you didn't find me whenever you were looking for me.
Even now I was searching your email, but in the website, the email was not visible.
Oh,
I
that's
got
a
your
shame.
number. Actually, I got your number and I tried many times in the number, but it was not reachable.
Oh dear. Well, now I guess you've got my email.
Our Mariko Kimura was physically with us 4 years before for inaugurating our social work congress in Kerala in the first go. Physically, she was here and she spent 2-3 days with us. So that was a wonderful experience.
Okay, now we have
yeah, you go.
we have one of our student, Anita, who has raised her hand. Anita, you can.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. First of all, I like to say thank you, Rose, ma'am, for giving us a wonderful session. I have a small question. Ma'am, as a budding social worker, do you have any advice to give to us? Any advices for us in this present situation?
How long have we got? I'm not sure that advice is absolutely the word that I would give, but firstly, I think congratulations for choosing the best profession there is. It's fantastic to be part of social work and making a difference in people's lives. I think that the advice that I would give is really to make the most of the time that you have at the university and on your student placements, help that develop your professional identity so that you've got a strong awareness of what it is as a social worker that you are bringing to your work. Lots and lots of people end up working a bit isolated. So they may be the only social worker in a multidisciplinary team or in a small community organization. And it's important to have that identity, that professional identity strong. To maintain that, of course, you need the networks I mentioned in my presentation. Don't ever work alone. Connect yourself professionally to your colleagues, whether that's in supervision, within your workplace, across workplaces, and of course, keep learning. You know, it doesn't end when you graduate. That is actually the beginning. And so take those sorts of, I guess, values into the profession and grow. You are the future of our profession. You are so precious, and anything we can do to support you and help, you know, that's absolutely what we want to do, those of us that have been around a little while.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, looking at your profile, like I had found it was very interesting to look into it. You have a great background, like leading many organizations, right through during your practice and after from New Zealand to begin with. So you have come on to the global level. So what would you say, give away to our students and all of us who are striving with various organizations and practice on going to great heights?
I'm not sure that I see them as great heights. and I just, you know, really clearly I am no better or worse than anybody else. I am no different from you, other than the amazing opportunities and good fortune that I've had to be able to be supported to move into these roles. It is an enormous privilege. It's very, very humbling and, very fortunate. I guess what I would say is, do take the opportunities to step into international roles or national roles. Often you don't really think about it too much as a beginning practitioner. Understandably, you have got lots and lots of things to do to learn about being a social worker. But if you get invited to go to a meeting where there are other perspectives being offered, that can spark an interest and open a door and take you down a different road. I think that, there's so much we learn internationally, many, many things we take for granted in our own families, in our own communities, in our own countries. But when we start talking across countries, we get exposed to very different lifestyles, different opportunities, different challenges, different solutions. And so you'd always become richer for it in your profession by connecting. And it is that collegial thing. We are really fortunate in IFSW where we've got connections into the various commissions. So connections into the United Nations, connections into the global education networks, the global practitioner networks. So we don't know what we don't know often. And so stepping into it, being exposed to it, gives us a little bit of an idea. And there's been many times when I've experienced situations in some countries where social workers are in huge ethical binds because they may live in countries where some things are deemed illegal, but in social work ethical principles, we expect people to acknowledge that. An example would be that in some countries, it is still regarded as illegal to be homosexual or lesbian. And yet social workers are often working with those populations, and the governments of those countries might see them as committing illegal activities, but the profession regards them as working within the ethical practice framework. And so those social workers reach out to us globally for support and for connection. And it's really important. So that's just one little example, but there are lots of different examples. We've got situations in our own region with Palestine and Israel and the dilemmas that happen there. And of course, we really feel hugely for our colleagues in Europe at the moment. So, internationally, we can provide some levels of support to those local politically challenging spaces. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but...
Friends, this is the best opportunity we all have got. Please feel free to clarify your queries and doubts and to share your feedback too.
That was a very humble answer, ma'am, actually. And you had rightly answered it. Yeah, we had, regarding this homosexuality, even it was illegal in our country. Only very recently, our government, we have a Supreme Court declaration in 2018. So it has been a long fight. There are lots of other issues too, where fights are going on, struggles are going on. Truly, we do need support from international bodies in this endeavors. Thank you. Rose, do we have any other queries or comments?
Friends, if you have any queries, please feel free to ask. And you can also share your feedbacks. You can also use the comment box.
Or otherwise, I think it's going to be on already 11:52. It's too much time we are taking from Rose, ma'am. So we'll otherwise go on to the word of thanks section, Rose.
Okay, ma'am. Now I invite Ms. Krishna Sriram to express our gratitude.
The Reverend dignitaries and my dear participants, once again, a very warm good morning. I'm very much delighted to extend you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit Regional Campus, Payyanur, and Episteme 2022, the International Conference, and to say how grateful we are to all who have accepted our invitation to convene this international conference on the theme Social Work Practice, Strengthening Social Solidarity and Global Connectedness. To the first note, we render our sincere gratitude to our honorable inaugurator and keynote speaker of the session, Ms. Rose Henderson, the International Federation of Social Workers Global Vice President and Regional President of Asia Pacific, for adorning our international conference by her knowledgeable thoughts on the theme Social Work Practice, Strengthening Social Solidarity and Global Connectedness. Ma'am, we are truly indebted to you for your valuable presence. And we, the budding social workers, are really proud to be part of this profession, as we have respected dignitaries like you to lead us. To the next, I deliver my sincere thanks to Professor Jose Anthony, Head of the Department of Social Work, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kaladi, who facilitated the presidential address. Thank you, sir, for your words and unconditional support. Our conference is really blessed to be felicitated by eminent dignitaries, the campus director of Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit Regional Campus, Payyanur, Dr. Ek Raijan, sir, Dr. Ike George, the General Secretary of Kerala Association of Professional Social Workers, and Dr. Sheelama R., who have not been there, but also I thank you, ma'am, the teacher in charge of Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit Regional Campus, Thuravur. We owe to you all for taking your valuable time and joining us for our session. I render my gratitude to Ms. Akila KP, the Assistant Professor of Department of Social Work, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit Regional Campus, Payyanur, who introduced us to the themes of the International Conference, Episteme 2022. To the next, Dr. Anita A., the teacher in charge of Department of Social Work, SSUS ASI Payyanur, who delivered the welcome address. Thank you, ma'am, for your welcome. Just as importantly, to conclude, I shower my heartfelt gratitude to all partakers of this inaugural session for your delightful presence all throughout this event. Hope your participation will continue throughout our 2 days of international conference. Thank you and have a great day.
We wind up our session here. Kindly join us for the upcoming paper presentation and team presentation sessions. Thank you. Wish you all a very beautiful evening.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Rose, one clarification, just one. Just checking your number. Is it 2743-523-56?
Oh my goodness. There's an international code at the start, isn't there? I think it's, is it plus 64 and then 27?
Yeah, 2743-523-56. This is the number I got.
Yeah, that should work.
Plus 64.
But maybe use the email that the organisers have got. That would probably be a good start, and we can work from there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Yes, no, thanks. And all the best for the next 2 days. It's great. And bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Just a reminder, the paper presentations will be starting at 2 p.m. and our next team presentation will be at evening 7:30 p.m. Thank you.